because the United States Federal Trade Commission said that I can only say things that are the truth. Oh. And who determines if what I say is true? We do, they said. I said, but a lot of this is opinion. No, we have fact checkers. Okay. So when I said that talcum powder causes cancer, all of your fact checkers said that that was a lie when I said that 12 years ago. Now, we know it's true. Now it's actually been proven to be true. Guess what? It was proven to be true then. I gave you the documentation and the substantiation. Just like the ingredients in sunscreen can cause skin cancer. They may be banging down the door right now to arrest me because they're watching the show. All right, so 10 foods you should never eat. If you stay away from these foods, all right, never eat. 10 foods you should reduce the amount you eat. Isn't that better? It's not all or nothing. At least reduce. Number 1, corn. Well, the American Corn Association is going to sue me. I know. It's right away. Corn. Stay away from corn. Why? Because almost all corn, specifically in America and Canada, but also around the world, almost all corn is now produced from Monsanto seed, which has been genetically modified and or is a hybrid corn, which means it's man-made, which means it's been processed. The corn was specifically developed by Monsanto to be fed to cows to make them put on fat very quickly and grow very fast. So if you're interested in keeping trim, if you think, I put on weight easily, corn is getting you fat because you're nothing but a piece of cattle. And the more corn you eat, just like the more corn a cow eats, the fatter you get and the faster you get fat. That's what the corn was specifically manufactured to do. It's not real heirloom, original, as nature intended corn. Monsanto corn, which is almost all the corn you can find, is making you fat. It's putting massive amount of fat on you. It's making you get bigger. It's putting on massive amounts of weight. Plus, it causes allergic reactions to all types of varying degrees. So anything that has the word corn in it, corn syrup solids, high fructose corn syrup, corn starch, corn meal, corn flour. It's not hard. You look at the ingredients. If it has the word corn in there, stay away from it unless you like being a fat pig. Then eat more. Corn flakes, corn puffs. Okay, number 2, artificial sweeteners. The 2 main ones are aspartame, which is called NutraSweet, and sucralose. Where are artificial sweeteners? Well, number 1, you find them in diet sodas. Why should you even avoid it? These fall into a category called excitotoxins. This is the best part. The number 1 reason people consume food with artificial sweeteners is because you've been lied to and manipulated and brainwashed. Here's what you think. I'm not going to say you're stupid because you've just been fed bad information and you stupidly believe it. so here's why people say, well, I want a Diet Coke or a Diet Pepsi. No calories. I'm trying to lose weight. Here's what studies have shown. And I've been talking about this for 25 years. Kevin Was Right file. You take 2 people. One person drinks regular Coca-Cola with sugar in it as the sweetener, not the high fructose corn syrup. A Coca-Cola with sugar, which comes from the sugar cane. Another person drinks Coca-Cola with no sugar, no high fructose corn syrup, but an artificial sweetener like aspartame. This person who's drinking the diet is consuming a lot less calories a day. This person is drinking more calories. Guess what happens after 30 days? The person drinking the diet soda gains weight. So the first reason you want to avoid artificial sweeteners is it makes you gain weight. And the reason you're consuming it is you think it's no calories and you think it's good for weight loss. It isn't. It does the exact opposite. Number two, it's chemically addictive. This actually was on the front page, I think, of Time magazine. It was on the cover. It was called The New Crack, because researchers have determined that artificial sweeteners are so ridiculously, incredibly addictive. They couldn't believe how addictive it was because it affects the neurotransmitter activity and the serotonin levels in your brain. What does this mean? This means artificial sweeteners like sucralose and aspartame make you anxious, stressed, and depressed. So, why would you want to consume it? Clearly, artificial sweeteners are in diet sodas, but they're in diet anything. And if you see the words no sugar, time out. It's a marketing ploy. They want to convince you that it has less calories and it has some type of artificial sweetener. The two main ones. Now, there's another one called saccharin, which isn't around very often. And quite frankly, that isn't as bad, but it's still bad. But aspartame and sucralose, stay away. Where else do you find them? Here's the best part. I mean, this is the scary thing. And this is why I started the world's best nutritionals and organics company, because every company out there selling nutritional products, food supplements, food bars, nutritional bars, protein shakes, nutritional shakes. You see all these people, they're all healthy and they're drinking this green powder in a glass jar. And they go, oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so healthy. It's got vitamins and minerals and it's got all this stuff. Yeah, and it's got sucralose in it, an artificial sweetener, which is making you depressed and fat and causing, these people know it, but they don't care. They just want to sell you the product. And they know that if you drink this, it's going to be tasting like you're eating grass. Here, would you like some grass? Come on over my house. I'm going to give you some juice from my grass. I mowed the lawn and I turned it into juice, but it's got chlorophyll in it. It's very good for you. It's very alkalizing. Here, I know it smells like grass because it is grass, and it tastes like grass because it's grass, but it's good for you. Who's going to drink it? So I got to put something in there so that you don't throw up. So I put sucralose because I don't want to put sugar or high fructose corn syrup because then the calories go up. And from a marketing standpoint, they know that people look at the nutrition part of the label for the calories. So they put in stupid things like sucralose and aspartame. You look at your food bar, you look at your protein bar, you look at your protein shake, look for the sucralose, high fructose corn syrup, or aspartame. It's everywhere. Stay away. Number three. All right, so number three is something that you all eat. People eat it all over the world. It's pork. And it's funny because I was having breakfast with Danielle a couple weeks ago. We're at this breakfast place, and there was these two guys over here. They were having a conversation. I just made it up. Kevin was right 5. All right, so 10 foods you should never eat. All right, so buckle up, write these down. Okay, let's play this. So this is the conversation of these two guys that I overheard talking about pork. Let's play this clip.
Pig, sweet, and root and shit. That's a filthy animal. I ain't eat nothing.
That's in the middle.
I have a dog. Dog eats his own feces. Only dog eats.
We got this clip here.
Do you consider a dog to be a filthy
That's
animal?
not the beginning.
I wouldn't go so far as to call a dog filthy, but they're definitely dirty.
That's not the start. The middle of the conversation. All right, we'll get the. Give me the thumbs up when you have this teed up. But let me talk about it. So pork is something that you should avoid. Why? A pig will eat anything in its path, including a dead rat. Scientists now know that whatever the pig eats turns to meat on its bones. So if you eat the meat of a pig, you're going to put your body in virtual toxic shock. All right, so you get this teed up now? All right, so let's play this clip.
Want some bacon?
No, man, I don't eat pork.
Are you Jewish?
No, I ain't Jewish. I just don't dig on swine, that's all.
Why not?
Pigs are filthy animals. I don't eat filthy animals.
Yeah, but bacon tastes good. Pork chops taste good.
Hey, sewer rat may taste like pumpkin pie, but I never know because I wouldn't eat the filthy motherfuckers. Pig, sweet, and root and shit. That's a filthy animal. I ain't eat nothing and got sense enough to disregard his own feces.
I have a dog. Dog eats his own feces.
I don't eat dog either.
Yeah, but do you consider a dog to be a filthy animal?
I wouldn't go so far as to call a dog filthy, but they're definitely dirty. But dogs got personality. Personality goes a long way.
So by that rationale, if a pig had a better personality, he'd cease to be a filthy animal. Is that true?
Well, we have to be talking about one charming motherfucking pig. I mean, he has to be 10 times more charming than that Arnold on Green Acres, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. That was not a real conversation that I overheard. That's from Pulp Fiction, and that was Samuel Jackson, and of course Vincent, played by John Travolta. But pork, stay away from. A pig eats its own feces. A pig eats anything in its path, even an organic pig. The meat takes 48 hours to be digested. So when you eat pork, the body goes into toxic shock. Most pig has trichinosis in it and other types of viruses, which cause the body's immune system, your immune system, to just overwork. It takes blood away from the brain. It has a very low vibration, lowering the body vibration. So ideally, stay away from pork. And if you can stay away from pork, you will just notice that your energy levels over about 3 or 4 months of no pork consumption, that your energy levels will start going up, your mental clarity will go up. Big advantage. Now, I am not a fanatic. So for example, I shy away from pork. And by the way, I'm Italian. I grew up on pork. Pork chops, bacon, pork sausages. We had pork all the time. Roast pork. I didn't die. No one's going to die. But I decided at one point to stay away from pork, and I wanted to monitor how I felt. So after about 3 months of no pork, I thought to myself, I really don't notice a big difference. So I went to a restaurant and I ordered, that was known for their pork chops, and I ordered the pork chops. Number one, I didn't find that they tasted appealing to me anymore. It was like, wow, I used to love pork and it just doesn't appeal to me. I couldn't even eat the whole thing. And then I felt so sluggish afterwards. That's when I noticed the big difference. So you might want to stay away from pork as best you can. But again, I'm not a fanatic. I was in Rotteck, Germany, south of Munich. And I met the owner of the hotel I was staying at, and he invited me to dinner at his house. So I went there, and he said, my wife drove to Nuremberg to get some very special Nuremberg sausages. They're only available in Nuremberg. They're very special. Well, it's a 2-hour drive each way. So she spent 4 hours in a car just to get sausages for me, which are 100% pork. I'm not going to say, well, thanks, but I don't eat pork. I'm a dick. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, fine. And so I had the pork sausages. They, quite frankly, were delicious. And, I didn't notice a big difference afterwards. But the bottom line is, pork, you can't put it in the health food category. But I also know people that are 95 years old that eat pork all the time. This is one of the things that if you reduce from your diet or eliminate all the blood work, all the hormone levels, it's going to show it is healthy, and it is going to increase not only your lifespan, the number of years you have in your life, but the amount of life you have in your years. Your energy levels could go up, your skin could look improved, but also your ability to communicate into the ether, that sixth sense. Pork will reduce it. This is why all gurus or spiritual gurus stay away from pork 100%, and many of them stay away from meat as well, because it will reduce, because they're lower frequency foods. Next, shellfish. Oh boy. I grew up on shellfish. I grew up in Boston. Every Friday, because it was a big Catholic area. So on the Catholics back then, you couldn't eat meat on Friday. So Friday, everybody went out for fried fish. So we got the fisherman's platter, which was fried cod or haddock, fried scallops, fried shrimp, fried clams, sometimes fried mussels. And then, of course, crab. Oh, lobster. Oh. Why shy away from shellfish? Here's why. More people get sick from eating, quote, bad shellfish than any other food group on the planet. More people every year die from eating bad shellfish than any other food group on the planet. More people are allergic to shellfish or have allergic reactions that are quantifiable and they can see it. More people are allergic to shellfish than any other food group on the planet. Shellfish, and let me define shellfish. It's not just fish that comes in a shell, like a clam or a mussel or a crab or a lobster or a scallop. But it's really any fish in water that does not have scales and fins. That's the rule. Stay away from water that doesn't have scales and fins. Why? So a catfish has fins but no scales. You would stay away from that. Squid, octopus. They're not shellfish, but you stay away. No scales, no fins. Why? Anything that doesn't have scales and fins, shellfish, and the other items I mentioned, squid, octopus, catfish, and so on, they're filters. They absorb whatever toxin is in the water, and they keep the toxins in their flesh that you are eating. This is why when I grew up in Boston, we had sometimes the red tide. The red tide would come in, which are these red microorganisms like an algae, and they're poisonous. You couldn't swim. You couldn't go out and swim in the ocean. If there was a red tide, you'd get sick. But you also couldn't eat the shellfish that came out of Boston Harbor or the area because those shellfish absorbed the toxin in the water, and you would get sick or potentially die from eating anything that came out of the water when there was a red tide. But you could eat the haddock, the mackerel, the cod, and the flounder because they had scales and fins. So those fish you could eat. They would filter out the toxins, and the flesh was pure. So if you stay away from shellfish, it's just like pork. I'll tell you a funny story. Mike Siegel, he's the 10-time world champion pool player, winningest player of all time. We were on the road together, traveling around, having some fun. And we're going from city to city to city, and Mike loves to go out dining. And of course, we're staying in motels. We're going to go out to restaurants. And we like to go out and have a nice meal. So in this one particular city, we stop, and they have mussels on the menu. Mike says, I love mussels. Anytime mussels are on the menu, I'm ordering them. So he orders the mussels. The next day, he's sick. A couple days later, we stop at another restaurant. Mussels are on the menu again. We're in another city. He orders the mussels. The next day, he's sick. A few days later, we're in another city, another different restaurant. Mussels are on the menu. He orders them. Next day, he's sick. I go, Mike, do you realize that every time you order mussels, the next day you're sick? He goes, really? I'm going to order them tonight, see what happens tomorrow. So he orders them. Next day, he's sick. He goes, okay. Next day, that night doesn't. Let's play this law of kashra, or the kosher laws. Pork and shellfish fall into that kosher law category. The kosher law says you can eat anything that's on the ground as long as it has a split hoof and chews the cud, which is why you don't eat pork. But you should also not eat anything that doesn't have a split hoof and chew the cud, like a bear, or because it has a paw. So if you stay away from anything that doesn't have a split hoof and chew the cud, such as a pig, and it says you can only eat something that comes out of water, whether it's a lake, a river, stream, or ocean, that has fins and scales, you're going to be better off. Okay, next, number 5. Stay away from hydrogenated oil. They're called trans fats. Just look on the label. It says hydrogenated oil. You like peanut butter, Americans? Of course, people who are watching from around the world can't figure out why anybody would like that disgusting thing called peanut butter. So I know you. You're in Germany, you're in Iran, you're in Albania, you're someplace in the world, and you're scratching your head and laughing, going, why is it that Americans like peanut butter? It's disgusting. Okay. So maybe I'm only talking to Americans here because you love your peanut butter. Look at the peanut butter. Number one, it probably has high fructose corn syrup in it. Number two, it has hydrogenated oil. Hydrogenated oils are terrible. They are trans fats. They will scar the inside of your artery, causing whatever cholesterol is in your artery to attach itself to the inside of the artery wall. Going to lead to a heart attack, but it also messes up all your hormones, and it can make you depressed. It increases your appetite. Oh, by the way, remember those artificial sweeteners I mentioned? There's another side effect. It makes you hungrier. It increases your appetite as well. So hydrogenated oils cause all types of problems in the arteries and the heart. They also make you gain weight. They increase your appetite, and they mess up your hormone system. So they mess up your immune system, but they also make you depressed. So stay away from trans fats and hydrogenated oil. Next, GMOs, genetically modified organisms. When you buy something at the store, you have to find the label that says no GMOs. If it says no GMOs, then you're relatively sure that at least the majority of the ingredients have not been genetically modified. If it doesn't say no GMOs, I can guarantee you that you are consuming something with GMO in it, genetically modified organisms. I had a guy on my radio show 15 years ago, and he went on for an hour and a half talking about every symptom that happens to a person, from gastrointestinal problem, bloating, colon problems, messing up your hormones, making you hungry, making you gain weight, giving you a belly, making you store extra fat, making you spacey, all these issues, all as well as cancer, high blood pressure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. GMOs are bad news. Stay away from them. You'll be healthy if you stay away from GMOs. Next, number 7, monosodium glutamate, also known as MSG. It falls into the same category as artificial sweeteners. It is an excitotoxin. It messes up the neurotransmitter activity. It makes you hungrier, makes you crave, makes you very thirsty, and causes the body to store extra fluid in the fat cells, making you gain weight, get bloated, and be fat. It actually increases fat cells and makes each fat cell bigger. Stay away from MSG. Here's the problem. Depending on the country you're in, there's different laws. If you look at the label, clearly you're buying Doritos, nacho corn chips. It's going to say right on there, monosodium glutamate. Okay, throw it away. And never buy anything from that company again because they know what this stuff does. The reason they put it in is because they're trying to get you physically addicted. That's another symptom of consuming monosodium glutamate. You get physically addicted to it, you can't stop eating it. And it actually psychologically addicts you to that product as well. Kentucky Fried Chicken, loaded with monosodium glutamate. Taco Bell, loaded with monosodium. And by the way, all the fast food restaurants, hydrogenated oil, genetically modified organisms, corn everywhere, monosodium glutamate. No wonder you're all fat and you're depressed and you're stressed out and anxious and your emotions are going like this. So stay away from MSG. It's an excitotoxin. Number 8, I talked about this a few shows ago, wheat. But let me define it. If you live in Italy, if you're watching in Italy, eat the wheat. You don't want hard wheat, high gluten wheat, or wheat that's come from Canada or America because it's only been fermented for 8 hours. This is a really tough one because how are you going to determine that? So here's something I just did yesterday. I wanted to buy some crostini, which is like a breadstick. So I went to Whole Foods and I walked in and they had crostinis. And I looked for one that said product of Italy. So I grabbed, they had 2 or 3 of them that were products of Italy. And I looked over and it said Durham wheat, which means it's wheat from Italy because this product was manufactured in Italy and the ingredients came from Italy. I know the wheat is fine. It's been fermented for 48 hours. It's not going to have a problem. It hasn't been genetically modified. It's not hybrid wheat and it's been fermented for 48 hours. So you want to stay away from wheat. And here's the challenge. Some of you like bread. You live in America, you live in Canada, you live in different countries. Look, this is a challenge and I understand it. So do the best you can. But if you reduce the amount of wheat that you're consuming, period, across the board, you're going to be better off because the majority of wheat you're consuming has not been fermented for 48 hours. It's high gluten wheat. It's causing all types of gas, bloating, allergic reactions, weight gain, et cetera, et cetera. So if you can reduce the amount of wheat, if you are going to eat wheat, like for example, I like pasta. I'm Italian. All my pasta comes from Italy. I buy pasta that says organic pasta, product of Italy. Now you're fine. And when people eat my pasta at my house, they always are amazed. There's no gas, there's no bloating. They don't have food cravings. Their candida isn't kicking in because it's pasta from Italy, organic pasta from Italy. If I were to make my own pasta at home, and I used to, I haven't done it in a while, I would buy flour from Italy, and then I would use that to make my own homemade fresh pasta. but I usually buy the pasta. Breadcrumbs, what about bread? It's impossible. If you're going to buy bread, it's all made in the country you're in. So in America, it's very difficult to buy bread. So stay away from wheat as best you can. All right. Number 9, soy. It's in America and Canada for sure, but it's all over the world as well. Almost all soy now comes from Monsanto seed. It has been genetically modified, and it is causing all types of intestinal problems, plus it will reduce and lower your testosterone. If you can eliminate soy, you will be amazed. Just like corn, soy is everywhere. Soybean oil. Now, what if it says, Kevin, organic soybean oil on my salad dressing bottle? Well, first off, I wouldn't buy it because do you ever make salad dressing at your house with soybean oil? No, use extra virgin olive oil. If you're going to make a salad dressing. You don't use safflower oil. You don't use canola oil. Use extra virgin olive oil to make a vinaigrette. So if it doesn't have extra virgin olive oil, why even buy it? But if you're buying something with organic soybean oil, you know the company is a scam company because the reason that they're putting soybean oil in there because it's so damn cheap. It's not any good for you. It's reducing the testosterone levels, and even if it's organic, depending on the country, it still could be genetically modified. So stay away from soy. Next, I'll put 2 things in the same category. Corn-fed beef and anything dairy that doesn't come from grass-fed cows. Law of kashra, or the kosher laws. Pork and shellfish fall into that kosher law category. The kosher law says you can eat anything that's on the ground as long as it has a split hoof and chews the cud, which is why you don't eat pork. But you should also not eat anything that doesn't have a split hoof and chew the cud, like a bear, or because it has a paw. So if you stay away from anything that doesn't have a split hoof and chew the cud, such as a pig, and it says you can only eat something that comes out of water, whether it's a lake, a river, stream, or ocean, that has fins and scales, you're going to be better off. Okay, next, number 5. Stay away from hydrogenated oil. They're called trans. And also, I already mentioned, stay away from homogenized dairy. So let me talk about this dairy and beef category. Cows eat grass. But in the manufacture of beef, cows are fed Monsanto genetically modified corn so that they grow fat faster. And that way they can be slaughtered and taken to the market quicker, making more profits for the company. Cows don't eat grains in real life. They eat grass. When you feed corn and grains to a cow, it will get fatter faster. Stay away. Also, in the feed, the commercial feed that's put in and given to cows includes ground up dead cows, sometimes horses and other animals that were so diseased they couldn't even be put into the food chain. So they feed it to the cow. Ground up dead, diseased, sick cows that they couldn't butcher and put into the food chain. But they're ground up and fed to a cow who doesn't eat meat because the cow is a vegetarian who's supposed to only eat grass. So what do you think happens to this cow? It gets diseased as well. Those animals are also injected with bovine growth hormone and massive amounts of antibiotics. So when you eat beef, you're screwing yourself. Your testosterone's going down, you're loading your body up with residual antibiotics, you're getting diseased product, you're putting your body in toxic shock. Not a good thing. And because of the bovine growth hormone, it makes you fat faster. So when you're eating beef, oh, I'm on a high protein diet. Oh my God, a high protein diet. Who am I today? I'm the guru, yeah. You gotta be kidding me. You think it's gonna burn fat? No. You're eating protein and you're also injecting yourself with bovine growth hormone so you get fat faster, and you're eating Monsanto's genetically modified corn to make you fat faster. And it doesn't have very much CLA, which is the acid in the beef which increases testosterone, so your testosterone levels are going down. So, okay. Eat as much beef as you want. Get 100% grass-fed beef. Organic grass-fed beef. No antibiotics, no bovine growth hormone, fed only grass. You're in good shape. And for your dairy, milk, cheese, yogurt from grass-fed cows. It's hard, but ideally not homogenized. With cheese, I consume cheese. I like cheese. My cheese is raw cheese, which means it comes from France or Switzerland most of the time. It's cheese from raw milk, so it's raw cheese. And all the cows over there are eating grass, so it's perfect. We have milk at the house. It's not homogenized. It's organic from grass-fed cows, which means the cream separates from the milk, and it only lasts a few days. So when it comes in, we have to shake it up, mix up the cream and the milk. We use it, but it only lasts a few days, so you buy a small bottle at a time. A little bit less convenient, but it's important. If you're drinking homogenized dairy in the form of cheese or milk or yogurt, your arteries are getting scarred, and it's causing arteriosclerosis, it's messing up your hormones, and it's making you gain weight. Plus, it's messing up your intestines. Your digestive system, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation are all caused in part by homogenized dairy products or dairy products that don't come from 100% grass-fed beef. So those are my 10 foods, and by the way, I could give you an hour on each one of these with all the details. So that's our show for today. I'm looking at the time. I did not get to your phone calls last week. I did promise you I'd be taking a ton of phone calls. It was not a lie. I did not know I was going to go this long. But I will make a promise next week. The only thing I'm going to cover is my book recommendation and my movies, and the whole show is going to be your phone calls. So next week, 100% of the show, other than my book recommendation and my movie recommendation, will be taking your phone calls. So thank you for understanding for not taking your phone calls today, but so many people wanted this information, and I had to give it to you. And I didn't give you everything. I just gave you a tip of the iceberg. Please subscribe to the channel. Go to Kevin Trudeau Fan Club.